Something massive just happened, and it's shaking the auto world to its core. Stellantis, the parent company behind Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram, just dropped a 60% price bomb that has sent shockwaves through the entire industry. Dealers are panicking, competitors are scrambling, and owners? They're furious because this discount isn't what it seems. What's really going on behind Stellantis' sudden meltdown? Well, buckle up, because this isn't just about cheaper cars and idiots. It's about survival. Stellantis didn't just lower prices, they slashed them to the bone. We're talking about brand new trucks and SUVs now selling for prices lower than some used models sitting on a dealer lots just weeks ago. The Dodge Durango, the Jeep Compass, the Ram 1500, all getting massive markdowns, some over $15,000 off MSRP. At first glance, this looks like a win for buyers, but dig deeper and you'll see the dark truth. This is a full-blown fire sale, a desperate move to clear out stock before something far worse hits. Because under the hood, literally and financially, Stellantis is in trouble. Reports are piling up about engine failures, particularly in models equipped with the Pentastar Phi 6 and the Hurricane turbo engines. Owners have been flooding forums and service centers complaining of stalling, overheating, oil leaks, and even complete engine seizures under 50,000 miles. And it's not just mechanical issues, it's systemic. Supply chains are broken, new parts are delayed for months, and technicians are overwhelmed with warranty claims they can't keep up with. So why did Stellantis decide to drop prices this drastically? Because their inventories are overflowing. Dealership lots are packed with unsold vehicles, and new car production has slowed to a crawl. The EV transition is draining resources, demand for traditional gas vehicles is dropping, and hybrid sales are cannibalizing their own ICE lineup. Stellantis is trying to buy time, liquidating what they can before the next wave of losses hits their balance sheets. But what they're not telling you is that this price slash is a silent signal that something bigger is breaking. Stellantis is hiding the scale of its unsold inventory crisis, and many insiders are warning that these discounts are only the beginning. Some dealers claim that Stellantis is forcing them to take on more inventory they can't move, while cutting back on marketing incentives and warranty coverage. It's chaos at the retail level. Customers who just bought Stellantis vehicles a few months ago are watching their car values collapse overnight. Imagine paying $55,000 for a Ram, only to see it now listed for $35,000 brand new. That's not just a discount, that's depreciation in real time. And people are furious. Trade-in values are tanking, resale markets are flooded, and owners feel betrayed. Many are calling it a massive trap for loyal Stellantis buyers. Meanwhile, production lines are slowing down not because of efficiency, but because the company can't afford to keep producing vehicles that aren't selling. Sources suggest Stellantis plants in North America are operating at reduced capacity, with suppliers facing delayed payments and temporary shutdowns. And that 60% price bomb? It's less of a marketing move and more of a distress signal. Competitors are watching in disbelief. Ford and GM are quietly adjusting incentives, Toyota is monitoring demand shifts, and dealers across the country are slashing used car prices to stay competitive. The entire market is melting down, all because Stellantis just flipped the switch on a new kind of price war. And here's where it gets darker. Some analysts believe this isn't just about sales. Stellantis may be bracing for a massive recall wave that could hit later this year. Engine reliability data, internal supplier disputes, and quality control failures are piling up faster than they can handle. By slashing prices now, Stellantis could be trying to offload risky models before warranty costs explode. Dealers are feeling the heat too. Many of them say they're losing trust in Stellantis leadership. They've been sitting on inventory for months with no clear communication. Now they're forced to discount vehicles below invoice just to make room. Profits are vanishing, and customers are skeptical, asking questions dealerships don't have answers for. The question is, how long can Stellantis keep this up before the meltdown spreads beyond their brands? Because when one major automaker collapses in pricing, it drags down the entire market. Used cars, trade-ins, and even financing values start to crumble. And what happens when consumers realize their discount car may be hiding mechanical nightmares under the hood? The cracks are widening, the panic is spreading, and the truth is only starting to surface. And now, behind closed doors, Stellantis executives are in full damage control mode. Sources inside the company say internal meetings have turned tense. Engineers, marketing teams, and financial officers are clashing over who's to blame. Some say it's the engine division, where cost-cutting led to cheaper materials and reduced quality control. Others point fingers at top leadership for pushing out too many models too fast. without fixing the reliability problems that have haunted Dodge, Jeep, and Chrysler for years. Meanwhile, consumers are waking up to the reality that the Stellantis discount bonanza isn't a celebration. It's a signal of distress. Forums are exploding with stories of failed transmissions, broken electronics, and engines that suddenly lose power on the highway. You can hear the anger in owners' voices. People who spent their savings on what they thought was a solid American vehicle, only to be hit with thousands in repair costs. Some are even calling for class action lawsuits, demanding Stellantis be held accountable for what they see as deceptive pricing and poor quality manufacturing. And here's the shocking part. These failures aren't isolated incidents. Data from independent mechanics and automotive watchdogs show a spike in warranty claims across Jeep, Dodge, and Ram models. The popular 3.6-liter Pentastar, once praised for its reliability, is now showing high rates of oil consumption and head gasket leaks. The new Hurricane turbo engine, the one Stellantis promoted as its high-efficiency game-changer, is reportedly facing early wear issues, fuel pump failures, and overheating under heavy loads. This is where the whole situation turns into a ticking time bomb. Stellantis knows that if these problems become public in full detail, it could trigger a massive recall and potentially costing billions. So instead of addressing it head-on, they're flooding the market with cheap deals, hoping to move as many units as possible before the storm hits. But buyers aren't falling for it as easily anymore. The car community is spreading warnings like wildfire. Social media is filled with videos of Stellantis owners showing oil leaks, dashboard errors, or complete engine shutdowns with barely 10,000 miles on the odometer. The hashtag Stellantis scandal is trending in forums and Facebook groups. Consumers are connecting the dots. This isn't just bad luck. It's systemic failure disguised behind glossy marketing and deep discounts. And as confidence in the brand collapses, dealerships are bleeding cash. Many Stellantis dealers are offering record incentives, extending warranties out of pocket, and even taking losses just to clear their lots. One dealership manager anonymously revealed that Stellantis has been quietly slashing dealer reimbursements on warranty repairs, forcing them to cover more costs themselves. This is pushing smaller dealers to the brink of bankruptcy, all while the automaker claims everything is fine. But everything is not fine. Production plants in Michigan, Ohio, and Mexico are operating at less than half capacity. Suppliers are frustrated, claiming unpaid invoices and reduced orders. Workers are facing temporary layoffs. And while Stellantis pushes its EV future narrative, most of its hybrid and electric models are struggling to gain traction, especially against cheaper, more efficient offerings from China and South Korea. The company's global strategy, meant to merge European efficiency with American strength, is crumbling under the weight of poor execution. Jeep sales in North America are plummeting, Ram trucks are losing ground to Ford and Chevy, and Chrysler barely exists anymore. And yet Stellantis keeps insisting that the 60% discounts are strategic adjustments. But industry insiders are calling it what it really is: a financial meltdown disguised as a marketing stunt. Because when a company starts dropping prices this drastically, it's not just about clearing stock, it's about survival. Buyers who rush to grab these deals are starting to realize they might have bought into a nightmare. Cars are arriving late, parts are on back order, and dealers are ghosting customers who complain too loudly. In some cases, brand new vehicles are sitting at service centers for weeks, waiting for replacement engines that Stellantis can't supply fast enough. And here's where the domino effect begins. The resale market is collapsing. Used car prices for Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler models are in free fall. Dealers who stocked up on used inventory months ago are watching their values plummet. It's creating a ripple effect across the entire industry, forcing Ford, GM, and even Toyota to rethink their pricing strategies just to stay competitive. But the real question is, what happens next? Because the cracks we're seeing right now, the price collapse, the production slowdown, the angry owners, they're just the early signs of something far bigger. Industry analysts are warning that Stellantis could be heading toward a full-scale restructuring, possibly even closing or selling off major divisions if the trend continues. The automaker's future is hanging by a thread, and insiders are whispering that the upcoming earnings report could expose the full scale of the disaster. If that happens, it won't just be Stellantis that melts down, it'll be the entire US car market. And now the panic is spreading faster than anyone expected. Buyers who once lined up for Ram trucks or Jeep Wranglers are hesitating, and those who already own one are desperately trying to sell before values drop even further. Used car auctions are reporting Stellantis vehicles piling up week after week, and the prices? They're collapsing. Dealers who once made comfortable margins are now offloading these cars at losses just to keep cash flowing. It's a meltdown playing out in real time. But the scariest part, Stellantis seems to be running out of moves. Behind closed doors, suppliers are demanding payment guarantees, parts orders are shrinking, and even Stellantis' EV projects, the ones hyped as their future lifeline, are being delayed or quietly shelved. The much-touted Ram 1500 REV and Dodge Charger Daytona EVs were supposed to redefine the company's future. Instead, production targets have been slashed, and internal sources claim cost overruns are spiraling out of control. Let's be honest, Stellantis tried to do too much too fast. They wanted to reinvent Dodge into an electric powerhouse, keep Jeep as a global SUV leader, push Ram into EV trucks, and somehow resurrect Chrysler, all while cutting costs. But instead of innovation, what they delivered was confusion, cheap parts, and poor reliability. Every corner cut is now coming back to haunt them, and consumers are noticing the cracks, literally. Owners are reporting paint peeling, infotainment system crashes, and electronic glitches that dealerships can't fix. Some models are spending more time in the shop than on the road. The service backlog is now so bad that some customers have been waiting months for replacement parts that Stellantis simply doesn't have in stock. And this is where trust begins to erode, permanently. Once a brand loses consumer confidence, it's nearly impossible to regain it. Stellantis' once loyal customers are jumping ship, moving to Ford, Toyota, even Hyundai, just to escape the uncertainty. The forums tell the story best. People aren't just frustrated, they feel betrayed. Meanwhile, on Wall Street, analysts are slamming Stellantis' leadership for ignoring warning signs. Their aggressive cost-cutting, outsourcing key components, and forcing suppliers into unrealistic production timelines has backfired massively. The result? Inferior quality, massive recalls, and an exploding pile of unsold inventory. It's a perfect storm of corporate mismanagement. And remember that 60% discount? It's not generosity, it's desperation. Dealers are being told to move metal no matter what it takes. Stellantis Corporate wants those sales numbers up before the next quarterly report, even if it means burning through billions in losses. But no amount of discounting can fix the underlying rot. Customers know when a company's in trouble, and right now Stellantis looks like a giant on shaky legs. What's more alarming is the ripple effect this is causing across the entire industry. Ford is suddenly reconsidering its own inventory levels. GM is quietly pulling back on production of certain trims, and even Toyota is being cautious about pricing. Stellantis has inadvertently triggered a price war that could send shockwaves through every automaker operating in North America. If prices keep falling, no one escapes unscathed, not even Tesla. Dealership morale is collapsing too. Many Stellantis dealers are reporting record losses, delayed incentives, and shrinking manufacturer support. Some are openly admitting they may not renew their franchise agreements next year. The trust between the automaker and its dealers, once the backbone of its U.S. presence, is crumbling. Insiders say Stellantis executives are split into factions, one pushing for a full-scale restructuring, another trying to ride out the storm through massive sales promotions and layoffs. But none of these plans address the real issue, the loss of consumer faith. Because when people stop believing in your product, when every discount starts to look like a red flag, no marketing strategy can save you. And the data is now impossible to hide. Car analytics platforms are showing Stellantis brands with some of the worst depreciation rates in the industry. A brand new Dodge Charger or Jeep Cherokee can lose up to 45% of its value within the first year. That's catastrophic for resale, for leasing, and for long-term brand image. The meltdown is spreading across borders too. In Europe, Peugeot and Citroën, also part of the Stellantis family, are facing similar issues: overproduction, software bugs, and slowing sales. What was meant to be a global powerhouse merger has instead become a tangled web of mismanagement, cost overruns, and broken promises. And here's the chilling truth: Stellantis might not survive this storm without major sacrifices. Analysts are whispering about possible factory closures, brand consolidations, or even the sale of struggling divisions like Chrysler. If that happens, it would mark the end of one of America's oldest car names, and a brutal warning for the rest of the industry. Because, make no mistake, when a giant like Stellantis starts collapsing, it doesn't just fall quietly, it takes a piece of the market with it. Used car prices drop, trade-in values crash, and even competing automakers feel the pressure to follow suit. What started as a 60% price bomb is quickly becoming a full-blown industry meltdown. And yet, Stellantis continues to smile in public, releasing upbeat press statements, promising record innovation, and teasing concept cars that may never reach production. But behind the polished PR, panic is spreading like wildfire inside the company. Executives are leaving, investors are backing out, and suppliers are quietly preparing for the worst. The storm has just begun. And if Stellantis can't stop the bleeding soon, what's coming next could change the auto industry forever. And now, cracks are showing where Stellantis once projected strength. Their European and American divisions are no longer aligned. Internal memos, according to insiders, reveal growing tension between executives in Paris, Turin, and Detroit. European leadership wants to pull resources into electrification and small car platforms, while the American side is fighting to save the muscle legacy of Dodge, the rugged image of Jeep, and the working-class pride behind Ram trucks. The result? Total corporate confusion. No one knows what Stellantis stands for anymore. Meanwhile, the sales numbers tell a brutal story. Jeep sales have dropped by double digits year over year, Dodge is barely clinging on with outdated models, and Chrysler is practically a ghost brand. Even Ram, their supposed golden child, has seen massive slowdowns in demand, especially after Ford and GM dropped aggressive incentives on their full-size pickups. Stellantis is trying to fight back with deep discounts. But when buyers smell desperation, they wait for even bigger discounts. It's a death spiral that's nearly impossible to stop. And let's not forget, the consumer trust factor. Once lost, it doesn't return overnight. Stellantis' repeated recalls, software glitches, and unresolved mechanical issues have created an atmosphere of suspicion. Customers are openly asking in showrooms, is this model going to break down in 6 months? Dealers admit they've never faced questions this blunt before. It's not about brand loyalty anymore, it's about survival instinct. Behind the scenes, financial analysts are now warning that Stellantis' cost-cutting strategy may have gone too far. By trimming expenses on materials, production quality, and supplier payments, they've saved short-term cash, but destroyed long-term reliability. Engines that should have lasted 200,000 miles are failing at 40,000. Electronics that should have been bulletproof are glitching right off the lot. Even Stellantis' once reliable transmissions are showing signs of corner cutting, with premature wear and shifting failures becoming common. And now the panic has reached investors. Stellantis stock has taken a beating, losing billions in market value in a matter of weeks. Hedge funds are quietly unloading shares, fearing the company is heading toward an industry-wide reckoning. Credit agencies are reportedly reviewing Stellantis' debt rating. And if that drops, it could trigger a chain reaction, that forces the automaker to slash even more costs, cancel future models, and freeze hiring. But here's where things turn from bad to terrifying. Stellantis' EV strategy, the cornerstone of its supposed future, is in serious trouble. The Ram 1500 REV, once hyped as a Tesla killer, is now delayed again. Engineers can't get battery supply chains stabilized, and early prototypes reportedly suffered from overheating and software instability. The Dodge Charger Daytona EV, its production schedule has been pushed back yet again, leaving dealers and fans frustrated. The European EVs, like the Peugeot E208 and Fiat 500e, are performing modestly, but they're not enough to cover the losses bleeding from North America. Stellantis' so-called multi-brand strategy has turned into a logistical nightmare. Too many models, too many factories, and not enough cash to make any of them competitive. And now, word is spreading that Stellantis might start pulling out of certain markets altogether.